Today we do another piece by Eric Satie. So I did the first Gymnopedie, if that's how you pronounce it, back some time ago. So today we'll do I'll do number two of the three. And so these were three pieces that he composed. I think 1888 and to 1895. And as it happens, this is number two. So the first one and the third one were composed in 1888, oddly enough. But then again, this is Eric Satie, who was odd. But he did compose the first and the third first. And then the second one wasn't composed until 7 years later, in 1895. And that's the one I'll do today. And the first and the third are probably the most famous in terms of people actually having heard them, apart from being interested in classical music per se, or music beyond out of that period, the Romantic period, the 19th century, and so forth. And so those two pieces have been heard in different places that people would encounter in movies or TV or perhaps in YouTube and videos online and so forth. And they were used as background music or theme music or mood music of different sorts for various other things. So they're known and people have heard them. And actually the two of those, the 1 and 3, the first and the third, actually sound similar. And so they go together rather readily, and to the point where you might not really be automatically say which one is it that you heard, unless you heard them both side by side and saw what the differences were. The second one, on the other hand, is quite, not quite different, but it's different. It's more distinctively different, although certainly they all are of a piece in the sense of being very, very slow. And that's one of the dominant characteristics of the three of them, is that they're very slow. But the second one is otherwise different in ways that make it a bit more distinctive than the first and the third. The first and third you could mistake one for the other. The second one, no, you wouldn't, because it is distinctively different, as you'll hear. And maybe that's because it wasn't composed at the same time. 7 years later is a long time. So it's different in that sense, even though it certainly shares a lot of the similarities. So that's what you'll hear today. And Eric Satie, I talked about him before. So Eric Satie, of course, was different. He was an odd individual, even by standards of that time frame. Not even by, but people of that time frame themselves noticed that he was a bit odd. And so he certainly had his ways of doing things. So here we're going to have, if I can pronounce this, Gymnopedie, which, by the way, is a word he sort of invented. It's based the variation on a Greek term, but he sort of invented that, perhaps because of his interesting sense of humor. It might have been sort of a poking fun comment, perhaps a sarcastic comment, hard to say. But he certainly had a very specific sense of humor, and so this was probably one of those things that he did. So this is Gymnopedie number 2.